Hi everyone, and welcome back to episode 3 now, number 3. Yeah, number three. Correct My Swing, chats, talks. Not really quite decided on the name yet, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Work in progress.
Yeah, so, well, I'm Josh, that's Andy. And today we're going to be talking about the return of golf. It's come back, which I think everyone is absolutely thrilled about. I certainly know. I know I haven't played yet, but I certainly know I'm over the moon to have golf back. I'll be playing on this Wednesday for the first time during the whole lockdown period. I know everyone's been cooped up and in the house and not been able to do a great deal. And now, let's say, drive ranges are open, so you can get out and hit some balls there. I went to drive range yesterday evening. That was absolutely rammed busy. I think that's the biggest thing that certainly I've noticed chatting to a few of the pros, that no one can believe how busy it is.
I guess, like you said before, I think for a lot of people, it's the green light, isn't it, that everyone's been waiting for, especially in the golfing community.
Massively.
It's the green light that has allowed people to go, right, we can get back playing. I mean, you only have to follow my social media to see the amount of people that the minute the green light, they were all picking up the phone, trying to get as quickly as they could get to the tee. Which I guess is good, because it means people are out exercising more and doing what they love. And, it's been, let's be totally honest, it's been a challenging time for lots of people. There's lots of stress, there's lots of things. This isn't a COVID-19 chat, but, we accept. And one of the things that most people use golf for is to escapism as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a release, isn't it? It's a lot of it for people. It forms part of their exercise as well. I mean, you're getting out, you're going to be walking 3 to 5 miles up and down a golf course.
I probably do more, mate, don't I?
Yeah, a bit of army golf for you.
There's
left, right.
There's a lot of zigzagging. A lot of zigzagging when I play.
You just get extra steps, isn't it?
That's what the same, mate. That's why I do it. People think it's just because I'm actually not that skilled a golfer. It's nothing to do with that. It's all to get me miser reps and stuff off. Yeah.
That's it. You just love the walk, get the steps in.
That's what it's all about.
But it's been great to obviously have it back on TV as well. Have the PGA Tour back this week, which was great. I mean, I personally am a big golf fan. Always have been, always will be. But I didn't realise how much I'd missed watching it. You tried to watch, I don't know if you saw anything, but of the charity matches that were on, the Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson one with the American footballers Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and then TaylorMade did one for, I think it was the COVID fund, with like 4 of their stars, so Rory, DJ, and who else was there? I think Ricky Fowler, and it wasn't Ricky Fowler, was it? Matt Wolf. I can't remember the other one. But it was almost like you're just watching 4 fellas having a social round of golf. Obviously no crowds and there was no caddies. Tiger and Phil were all in buggies.
Yeah, but
and it was all a bit strange. Like everyone was watching it, like just sort of like a social knock. Whereas now, like you've got the PGA Tour coming back, then I know there's no crowds there, but there is still like the excitement of the leaderboard and the tournament and what they're playing for and so on and so forth. So it was really good to have that back and watching that and get stuck into that again.
But I think it is the social side of it that, you talk about 4 fellas having a knock around the golf. That's what, that's the part that I enjoy. Do you know what I mean? I would probably say that's my, I'm less skilled than you. So my part of my enjoyment of the game is to go and have the crack, isn't it? And we were talking before this and off camera. It's kind of like I enjoy having all the stick that goes with the game, and I'll be totally honest, normally all directed towards me when I play with people like you. And good, but I think that fundamentally, that is what people have been missing as well, isn't it? The camaraderie of and the togetherness that you get on a golf course and the crack you can have. But I think we wouldn't be us without us creating stuff here as Also, for all of you, we think it's fantastic that you're all back on the course. You know, like Josh says, I think it's, you know, there's the buzz, everyone's back on, tees are full, everyone's getting back enjoying the course.
Oh yeah, so you can't get a tee time for days, right? 4 or 5 days in advance. The tees are booked up, and they're booked up from the first slot in the morning to the very last slot at night. And I mean, arguably this is like unprecedented and unheard of for golf courses to be that busy, which is fantastic. But
and this is what we had to make this episode because we've spent the last, the last 15 years, 10 years of our thing, helping golfers improve. And we've spent the last 2 years researching quite heavily and deeply into golf, haven't we? Into, where we, with our correctmyswing.com stuff. And, I think it's important that, while you're watching this and while you're enjoying your golf, and we're actively encouraging you to continue that because we see the benefits. What we are going to do is say, well, look, please take notice of what we're going to talk about over the next 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever we chat for, because it's really important that you take note that what we want you to do is continue to play your golf, don't get injured or don't overdo stuff, because like Josh opened with, the majority of people, because you've not been playing, you may have been doing other stuff. You may have been doing, we've seen a lot of people doing exercises in the gardens. That's gone up. Mm-hmm. You might have done nothing. You might have been totally and utterly sedentary, right? Mm-hmm. Either way, the forces that, you put through a golf swing, and this is something that, again, we're very passionate about in the sense of, golf creates a phenomenal amount of force on the body, especially,
you can't get away from that.
Especially when you're winding that driver up on the first tee, and you warm up as this. I think I'm ready, right? And then you start, you start doing your warm up swings. Feels good. You crank it up a level, smash straight down the tee. Brilliant. Okay. Now that's all right, but there's an argument to say that, if your body has been unfamiliar with dealing with that load.
And then then you wonder why by 9, 10, 11 that your knees are hurting, your shoulders are starting to ache, and like your back's blowing up. Every time you bend down to read the putt or you put the tee in, and everything's just a bit aching. It's just like, I didn't realise that I had that little niggle there. So coming back so thick and fast, and like the volume's being piled on with playing 2, 3, even 4, 5 times a week from not doing anything. Like, you've got to make sure that your body's ready to be prepared and cope with those forces. I think that's fair to say, Andy.
Yeah, 100%. And I think one of the things that we're trying to do with this video is that, and we felt that it was needed to kind of put this out there, was to look, all we want you to do is be aware that, while you're returning to golf, that if you overdo anything, if you do too much too soon in a short level of time, like Josh says, people are surprised, and especially the pros that we've been talking to are surprised how busy and how much how people have just rushed back, which we get and we understand. But we've also got to say that, as a physio that works with golfers, and as an S&C who works in golfers, that people come in and talk about the niggles and stuff. The last thing we want to see is you now having this freedom, this green light's come out, and you're now stuck down with an injury, or, those niggles actually stop you enjoying it. That's the last thing we'd want to see, that. So, some of the things that we will definitely do to help you is, my good friend here has filmed some lovely videos that we will be attaching into the ends of this conversation, which you can be doing, and we're going to advise you before they play golf. Josh, is it all part of the warm up?
Yeah, I would do it before you play. You can do it, like, if you don't want to do it down at the club and like be seen with sort of with the lads be seen to be warming up as such, and all the probably stick and crack that you'll take for that, that's fine. Just do it at home, even if you've got like a 20-30 minute drive to the golf course. If you do something at home for 10-15 minutes, you'll still like reap the rewards and the benefits when you get onto the tee 30-40 minutes, like an hour later. You will still reap the rewards of doing it. But there are also the types of movements that you can do during the round as well. So with the courses being so busy, a lot of people are not complaining about slow play, but there are hold-ups on holes because there's like some courses have still got restrictions in terms of how many people are playing. Some are like don't have any restrictions, so they're playing in 3s and 4s. Some are playing competitions. Other clubs aren't yet playing competitions. So that, with it being so busy, there is going to be some congestion out there. So definitely do it as part of your warm up before you play. But then if you stood around just waiting for your shot, waiting for your turn, or waiting for the fairway or green to clear, there's no reason why you can't just get in like a cheeky 8, 10, 12 reps of something just to keep on top of it.
And so there's an additional benefit. One of the things that we've shown in the evidence and the research that we've been doing is if we are activating muscles correctly, and we're talking about it for 2 reasons. One, because we don't want you to get injured, because we know the evidence has shown that if you do too much too soon, especially in golf, that overload stuff will overload tissues and create niggles and damage, and that could affect your golf for the rest of the season. And that's what we don't want. I know it's ironic that I fundamentally have made money for the last 15 years about people breaking themselves and having to, help them get back on a course. So it's very ironic that we're spending all our time now educating you so you don't get broke, because, what we are passionate about is you playing better golf.
Well, as the old saying goes, prevention's better than cure, isn't it?
Well, it's a nicer conversation to have, isn't it? It's a nicer conversation to have. I've never enjoyed the conversation where saying, Matt, I'm not being funny. You've now got to the stage where we have to absolutely, stop you from playing. Normally, if you're sensible, we just reduce your playing, or we reduce the amount of holes you play or the amount of times you play per week. The conversation is when you have to tell people to stop. And, and if for those of you that's ever, my philosophy that rest and complete rest from any sport is kind of totally against what I encourage most of the time. But what we've shown is actually, if you do this stuff for prevention, it almost improves your performance as well. So, and that's what we're about. You might have realized if you've come across our work before, and we're on the third phase, we are so passionate about you playing better golf, because it's something we enjoy. We enjoy having those conversations, don't we?
Well, ultimately, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Like, it's all well and good. I mean, this may be another conversation, but like Bryson DeChambeau at the moment, he's put on all this weight. He's gained all this mass, and like in simple scientific terms, mass moves mass. So he's got bigger, and the exercise has allowed him to move faster. And he's increased his clubhead speed by 11 miles an hour, which equates to possibly up to about 30 yards in extra distance. Now that in golf, that is unheard of. Like, people strive and struggle to increase clubhead speed by 1, 2, 3 miles an hour, like over the course of a season, or possibly like 3 to 5 miles an hour, even over the course of a career. Like, a lot of it is down to technology, but he's physically put on 11 miles an hour of club speed. But he still hits it. Like, he didn't win. Like, he didn't come out and blow the field away because he hit it so far. Yes, he did it in distance, but he could still hit it in the trees like everybody else.
Mate, that's my bag, that, isn't it? Isn't it really hard into the trees? No, but I think, well, again, and that's something that we want people to understand, isn't it? The fact that, and we're all about looking at efficiency. So that's all well and done, but if you can't control that power, and my bias of looking at the injury side of it and the force in the body is, well, if you've that was it. How much is he be able to create that force over 3 months?
I think it's pretty. Well, since about the end of last season, he's been working towards it.
Okay.
But he's done most of it. He's done a big bulk of the work, like during the lockdown, during the 12, 13-week layoff.
So it'd be interesting to match his career over the next to see how, how consistent, one, he can maintain that, and then two, do we get a bout of injury history?
Because, yeah. Does your body start to break down?
Because again, it's all well and done that, and we've seen, we're very fortunate. We work with some very fit, strong athletes. And unfortunately, if they can't control that speed, if they can't control that and their body mechanics can't deal it well, then, you put stress on tissues and tissues cause injury, and then that aches and pains. And yourself, I mean, let's be totally honest, I can't imagine any golfer watching this has not turned around and said, I've never had a niggle on a golf course, But, well, one, the lighting, because I've never come across any golfer that hasn't hurt themselves at some point or get aches and pains. But let's be totally honest, you have to change your swing when you're in pain.
Yeah, to make compensations.
You have to do it. Which, let's link that to, if you have to compensate in your swing pattern, then that will affect your performance.
Well, yeah, it massively affects. If you're making compensations in your movement patterns in your body, that has a huge impact and a huge effect on where you're able to put the club and what positions you're able to put the club in, and whether that's the position you want to or that's the position you have to because of if you can't move in the right way, which ultimately has a huge impact on your ability to consistently return the ball back to impact on a repeatable basis. That's the most important bit. You need to be good that 12, 13 inches around the bottom of your arc around the ball. That's where you need to be repeatable. And I think that's where probably more of the point where I was kind of going with the whole Bryson thing is it's great that he's putting 11 miles an hour, he's putting all this weight and this mass, and it's great he's now hit 340 yards off the tee. But I just feel it's a very one-dimensional way of looking at it.
Well, I mean, for me, probably the question to you then: how important is that compared to being able to the short game and the mental game of it?
The thing is now that there's evidence out there and there's stats that prove if you go further down the hole, statistically, you will take less shots. But I think it's kind of being misinterpreted now as it's just all a power game. So if you're further back in the fairway, statistically, you will take more shots if you are further down the hole, but even still in the rough or in the first cut of rough. So people kind of see that as a green light to just try and smash it as far as they can. But you lose so much control when you are playing out of the rough, and even like the first cut of rough to a point. But I think really like the message there is that it's relative to you. If you have the ability to hit your driver where others can't, you are going to be further down the hole relative for you and relative to your competitors. And that's not saying you have to hit the ball as hard as you can and hit it as far as you possibly can, and it then just becomes a game of chasing speed and power. It becomes a game of, right, can you hit the longest club that you've got available to you, straight and far, relative to you? So you can put yourself farthest down the hole and you leave yourself the best opportunity. And that ultimately comes down to your ability to control the club. And the longer the clubs go, the harder it is to control it. I mean, you'll all understand that it's easier to hit a wedge and a 9-iron, to hit a green or a target that's 15, 20 yards wide with a 9-iron or a wedge than hitting a fairway with a driver that's 15 or 20 yards wide. We're all standing up and we're terrified to try and hit a driver that's 15, 20 yards wide. It's like trying to land it on a runway. But let's say if you've not got that confidence and ability in the driver and the long clubs, you're then having to change your strategy and back off. So
Josh, just out of curiosity, just from your, from put your coach's head on a minute. Mm-hmm. So everyone returning to golf, what would be the kind of advice you would give to people? Because, so people relatively, if they've kept fit and healthy, aren't going to lose strength, are they?
Nope.
So what's going to be the one thing that they think? Is it going to be the cognitive? Is it going to be the control and the touch and the feel around the short game and the putting? What are people going to lost from not playing over that time?
Most of it is going to be kind of judging how far your clubs are going to go. So
Okay.
like knowing your distances. But then also massively is going to be your short game. Your chipping, your pitching, your putting. Like your putting field, if you don't practice it, goes pretty quickly. And certainly your chipping. Chipping and pitching disappear very, very quickly. Like without consistent practice and constant practice. And that's obviously like something else that we massively advocate, is that like your time shouldn't be spent in the gym instead of being out there practicing and playing. Like you have to be upkeeping as much practice and play as you can possibly get in, and use the physical side to support that, not to take its place. It should supplement it and support it and complement it.
Which is all. Go on, sorry.
Go carry on, cool.
No, I was just going to say, which is all more important to go back what we started with, is saying that look at muscle efficiency, because, if we know that chipping and putting is about control, and, we can then link control back to being muscle stabilization and muscle patterning and all the things that we talk about. So it's almost more important that even if you're not worried about trying to smash the ball off the tee, if you want to try and, if we're happy saying that actually probably one of the things is that chipping and putting is probably going to be one of the things that is going to be most effective when returning, then actually there's an argument to say that for a performance gains, you doing, like you say, the exercises as you go around and getting your body more familiar with some stability working stuff will almost help improve that. So we can almost fast track. And again, if that's something that you're doing that your mate isn't doing, then, and let's be totally honest, it's all about winning, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to play well, but that's
taking a quid off your mate here and there, whatever it is, whatever you're playing for, or, it's...
Or a bank transfer it would be now.
Well, yeah.
Take PayPal.
Yeah, that's it. Can't even buy a pint afterwards, can you? And you can't even buy a pint at the end of the round. No. And I think it's, it's a really important point that we make. And, there might be, and I've got no doubt we're going to continue to repeat this. Our point about being effective in our stabilizations for injury prevention and performance. And to be honest with you, I'm not going to apologize for being repetitive, because until that we've got every single golfer that we can listen into this, understand the importance of that, I'm going to keep repeating it, because, until we get every single person recognizing the importance of warming up at using their stabilizers and activating muscles before they play and even before they practice and the things they can be doing, then we're going to keep repeating that message, aren't we? And we're going to keep hammering it home to people, because it's so important that, we get you playing the best golf that you can play, because, and well, more me, I appreciate how frustrating the game can be if you're, if you don't, you're all right, you're skilled. So, but still, the different levels of our golf, I'm trying to, break handicap of 20.
It's all relative, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's what I'm trying to do. But again, you're better than me, so my eyes are always on you to chase you, aren't they? So it's So what could people be doing, Josh? What would you suggest? What would be an ideal? So they've got a tee. I think you told me that you were on of an evening this week.
Yeah, we're on it.
Just for people who are listening, what would you recommend? When do people start doing this warm up? What and how long do you think it should take?
Well, it's one of those. It depends on how much time you've got. Ideally, if you can do something for 15 to 20 minutes beforehand, before you even start swinging a club, spend 15, 20 minutes at least. Probably in an ideal world, if you had 30 minutes to do 30 minutes worth, then that would be absolutely perfect. But we understand that not everyone's got half an hour. But it's one of those, we will all get to the golf course before our tee off time. It just depends on how much before we get there. Some people, it will be 10 minutes that is literally, right, I put my shoes on, time later to get my clubs out of the boot, and I've got 10 minutes before I'm teeing off. If that's all you've got, that's fine. Do something for those 10 minutes. If you're there an hour before, great, do something for half an hour and then start hitting some shots. And it switches on the stabilizing muscles that we're talking about, not like the big power generators. They're always going to generate power. That's what they're built to do. But it just seems to be the nature of the beast that they want to take over, get greedy and try and do everything. when we need to switch the smaller ones on, that actually, okay, right, we can help you. We can help the bigger muscles actually create more force and more power, because like we take the inhibitions away.
Yeah.
Like we take the like a restrictor, isn't it, on a car? Cars are fitted, like faster cars are fitted with restrictors to restrict the horsepower, to restrict the speed that they're able to go at. And it's almost like when your power muscles and your force producers are trying to do everything, it's almost like they've been fitted with that restrictor. You switch the stabilizers on and it takes the restrictor off, but it actually allows you to do it safely.
I always talk about, it's like trying to drive a car with your foot on the accelerator and the brake at the same time.
Yeah, you don't go in and your wheels are spinning.
You might do, but you're gonna burn out. So, something's gonna give in. Whereas, like you've said there, if you can spend some time, and I think 10 minutes is probably the minimum that we would recommend you'd be doing. Only if you want to play better golf and stay away from a physio. Fundamentally, if you like visiting the physios, or you like being frustrated on a golf course, then just totally ignore everything we're saying and just crack on doing what you're doing.
Don't bother.
And the whole point is then, because the nice thing is, like, that if you can effectively teach your body, which the stabilizers are effectively teaching your body when to use the brakes and how to put them on, the time they have to stay on enough so that you can, it's like a Formula One car, isn't it? If you're driving around the track, you want to keep his foot on the accelerator as quickly as possible all the time. Just like you want it through a swing, you want to be accelerating all the time. There's a point where you have to brake. And effective braking is almost as the greatest skill in a Formula One, because it's knowing how to brake quickly and effectively enough at the right time. Now, what we want to do is get people to be doing this automatically. If the stabilizers are working well, they brake appropriately. It means you can create all this power. You can control it so it hits the ball. If the club face doesn't hit the ball nicely, then the ball's going to go in the trees, out of bounds, over the top.
You've got minuscule.
I've managed to hit the ball backwards off a tee, which
margin for error.
Yeah, but that's what it's about, isn't it? And that's so this is the importance of it. And if you're unfamiliar because you've been off playing for a while, then there's that ability isn't going to be there, and that's what we thought we had to really share today, wasn't it?
Yeah. So like I said before, there's going to be some videos at the end. So give them a watch, and like I say, if you're able to, give them a go.
What we'd also like to do is, again, with like all this kind of stuff, give us some feedback. What is it you want to? What's affecting your golf? What would you like more information on? If you want to check out our correctmyswing.com website, that you're more than welcome to see what we've created and done. If you want to ask us any questions, then reach out to us. Help me at correctmyswing.com. Literally just ask us some questions. We're here to help. This is what we're about. We're very passionate in making better golfers. So, please feel free to ask us stuff. Is that fair, Josh?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely perfect. So you'll find the videos at the end. Give them a go as part of your warm-up. Either if you've only got 10 minutes, just set your clock to 10 minutes and get through as much as you can in 10 minutes. If you've got more than that, set your watch to 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and get through as much as you can in that time. Start swinging, and hopefully, you've switched the right muscles on, you will feel almost instant improvement in how you move through your swing and a bit more freedom.
And if you feel the urge to film yourself doing it and would like to share them with us, we would absolutely love to see you participating. So, take a picture. You may have a picture. Show us that you're warming up. Show us that you're taking this on. And then, obviously, share your scores. Let's see if we can turn you better golfers. Thanks for listening.